Okay, let's talk about a topic which is hotly and widely debated. Can you use your mobile phone if it is sitting in a cradle in your car? Now, lots of people argue and debate about this. They usually end up talking about the Tesla and say, well, what about the Tesla? Because it's got a screen and that should be illegal as well if you can't use your mobile phone. Well, the law provides that you cannot use a mobile phone or any other handheld device or any device that is capable of two-way communication, regardless of whether that is active. And that means it's in your hand. So technically speaking, the specific regulation that prohibits that sort of use doesn't apply unless it is in or must be in your hand at some point when you are using it. Now, does that mean you can just willy-nilly use your phone in the cradle as much as you like? Willy-nilly is the technical term, by the way. No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean you can just use your phone however much, however often, to what extent, and whatever granular degree that you think you need to while it's in the cradle. Listen up. If your phone is in a cradle, and you've got it on one of these things, great little thing, by the way, I'll link it in the description below. But if this is attached to your car and you're there typing away a message and responding to somebody, an email or a text message or whatever, then that is obviously going to distract you from the road. Now, if you're distracted from the road, then you're not driving with due care and attention, otherwise known as careless driving. If you hit somebody, then you could be causing some kind of injury, and worse still, you might cause death by careless driving or even death by dangerous driving, depending on how fast you're going, what type of road it is, and so on. So no, it doesn't mean that you can just use your phone however you like just because it's in a cradle. Now, I tell you the law on this channel exactly as it is, and sometimes I give you my views on it, my interpretations on it. Are they going to be 100% correct and accurate at all times? No, of course not. I'm human and not every barrister is correct all the time. And even then, barristers go to court and argue over different points, because the case of DPP and Barreto that went to the Court of Appeal because some guy decided to not throw his things around on the desk, but he decided to have his phone and film a collision as he was driving past. The Court of Appeal said that that was not using his phone in the way that the original legislation intended. Therefore, he wasn't guilty of the offence. If Parliament wanted to ban all use of phones in that way, including the use of cameras and things like that, then it should legislate to do so. So it did. And then we had Regulation 110, which anything from illuminating the screen, checking the time, any kind of use whatsoever, really, of any device. So does that also apply to wristwatches and things like that you can illuminate the screen on? Well, yes, technically it does, because if you are illuminating the screen on a device that is a wearable device and you're driving, is it handheld? That's another case that's going to have to go to probably the Court of Appeal at some stage for the Court of Appeal to rule on. Is it handheld because it's on your wrist? Now, here's my hand, here's my wrist. Is it handheld? One might have thought that one interpretation is that it's handheld because it's attached to my hand. The other is, well, it's not in my hand, like this would be here. This is in my hand, definitively. If it's in a cradle, such as my demonstratory cradle here, then it's in a cradle. It's not handheld. I can use it like that. But as I say, that doesn't give free rein to use it. Do I suggest using it at all? Well, not if you can help it. If you absolutely must, use it for sat-nav purposes or answering a call, so long as you're not distracted and while it's in a cradle, then you're probably going to be fine. But just know that if you do that and then you smash the car into someone else, you might well be then asked, well, what were you doing at the time? And you might be asked for your phone records and all sorts of things. Because if you were sending a message or making a phone call or taking a phone call at that very moment in time when you were distracted from the road and crash into somebody, guess what? That's going to go against you. So my suggestion to you is leave it alone unless you can definitely use it for a limited purpose without distracting you from the road. So I hope that is useful. And I know this debate comes up again and again, and the debate comes back to Teslas always. Now, the Teslas are a fixed screen. They are not handheld, so they don't come within the same regulations. But the same applies if you are browsing music along the Spotify playlist on the Tesla screen. The same applies. Everything that I've just said about phones being in a cradle, the same applies to a Tesla screen. If you're scrolling through looking for a particular song, whilst you're driving, you're obviously distracted from driving, not driving with due care and attention. You could be careless or dangerous driving. So the same applies there. But just like with a phone with a Tesla screen, if it is a single button to answer a call or something like that, and you can even do that on the steering wheel, not just the Tesla, but most cars these days, you can answer the call with one press of a button on the steering wheel. That's usually fine as well. But the same applies as long as you're not distracted. Now, obviously, emergency situations come into play here. And with the phone, don't forget that there is that exception of being at a drive-through for making a contactless payment for goods that are delivered at or immediately after making payment. So I hope that answers some of the questions and resolves some of the debate. Make sure you subscribe for further content. I really appreciate you subscribing. It helps my channel grow, helps to spread my reach, and have a great Saturday. It looks nice and sunny out there, so I might go for a walk. Have a great day.